Hello everyone, nubkeks here. Welcome back to Nub Raids, and today we've got two champion rebalances that I think nearly everyone is going to be really happy about. Two champions that definitely needed it. We're going to touch on those in a minute. You will find out what has happened to my giant rooster. That's right, my giant rooster. It's even better than before. I can't wait to show my girlfriend later what has what has changed. But no, first up though, we do have a progressive event for Thursday. This is a 23-hour event on Thursday, the 8th of May, which is, well, it's tomorrow. This, of course, is coming in before. If I open up the event calendar, this is obviously coming for the 23 hours before the summon rush for the fusion. So if you're doing the fusion, this is obviously probably a no-go. I'm doing the fusion, it's probably a no-go. But we do have some juicy champions in there. 4 different faction unities: Aislinn, Fyna, Falmond, and Dunlord Gregor. And then Cardiel, Taris, and Turvold. So some pretty decent voids. A couple of very strong voids. And then Turvold, who's good, but not crazy. Obviously, let's be real. For the Krakens out there, here you go. This is your day. This is your event for Fyna. Fyna is one of the top 3 faction unity champions in the game, alongside Teox and Volcanos. Volcanos is the best for Arena. Fyna is probably the best for clan bosses, and Teox is sort of just really good everywhere, really. He's sort of the most general, arguably, of them all. But yeah, Fyna is insane. She's particularly good at the moment for Chimera because she fully resets the champion's skills and gives them block damage for 2 turns. So she can enable any damage dealer to survive against the ram form. And in fact, even thrive against the ram form because they won't take any reflected damage due to block damage. So she is insane. I will say that it is a little difficult to maximize her potential in Chimera if you don't have Galathier. That's really the big combo. But obviously, you know, there's going to be many, basically all the Krakens that have Galathier but don't have Fyna. They're going to be krakening big tomorrow. It's a big payday for Plarium. Simple enough, job done. I think the rest of them, it's going to depend. I think Aislinn, Falmond, and Dunlord Gregor, these for me are. I did a faction unity tier list recently. They're sort of like the lower tier ones. They're all decent. These are all decent, and they've got good potential for Siege. They've got very good potential for Faction Wars Hard whenever that comes out. These are all reasonable, so you could reasonably go for any of these as well. But they're not in the top echelons of the faction unities. They're good. If I was to pick one, I'm not doing this event. I'd probably pick Aislinn. And then Falmond is decent, and Dunlord Gregor is decent. The sort of the issue that you run into, basically, with these 3 in particular, I think with Falmond, you've got a lot of really good champions at Sacred Order already, and he's definitely very good for Siege. Very good for Siege. But you've got a lot of really good champs in this faction, so he might not be too essential. It's sort of the same thing with Dunlord Gregor. Again, he's very solid for Siege, very solid for Faction Wars Hard. But again, you've got already very good champions in this faction, so it sort of feels like maybe a bit overkill. I think Aislinn actually probably stands out in his faction a bit more. Again, sort of the only problem I'd be pointing out with Aislinn is if you do want to use him in Siege, while yes, he is very good, it's really Taris and Marishka are far more important, and it honestly doesn't matter. You could have the best team with Androck and Aislinn, but if you don't have Taris Marishka, leave out Taris Marishka, try to build your best possible team with the faction. Guess what? You just got destroyed by Taris Marishka. It's sort of irrelevant. This faction is really defined by them. Aislinn is obviously the perfect companion for them, and he'll be very, very useful, I think, for faction wars. You know, put him in with Timit and Kaja, and he'll help them stay alive. It's going to be really good. But yeah, obviously, if you're going into Siege, don't be too excited. I mean, it's the same problem with a lot of I think it's just, you know what? Slight rant about Siege. I think this is a fundamental problem with Siege, is that the faction stages is a really cool concept, but the reality is, if you want to build a faction stage, let's see, maybe we've got one here. Here we go. If you want to build a faction stage, you can see limiting. I know he's got Dunlord Gregor. He's not even using him. But you basically for a later game clan, you basically need the faction unity, and you need the mythicals, and you need the OP Void legendaries. And if you don't have everything, then because it's for your entire clan, you're just never going to attack that stage, and you're never going to have a defense in that post. It just doesn't exist for you. Who is the best person in your clan with barbarians? Great, they get that attack and that defense, and you've got the faction unity. Oh, but you don't have the mythicals or the voids. Oh well, no, you're never doing it. Forget about it. It's a big problem. Like, for example, Siege could be potentially way more interesting if it's like, this week is the barbarians week, and then you're like, ooh, all of the things are barbarians. Okay, well now any champion you have is a big win because you're representing your clan more. I think that could be fun with Siege and actually make Siege more interesting if there was themed rotations of it instead of it being sort of the same thing every time. Anyway, that's my rant about Siege. Some fundamental problems. We already know there's big Siege changes coming in, and themed weeks is not one of them. So it's probably never going to happen, but I think it could have been a fun idea. But yes, anyway, that's sort of my rant about that. For the Voids, Taras, big win. It's not probably as juicy. I mean, this is one of the things. Krakens have had him for so long. He's not as juicy as Fyna, but Taras he's insane. He's really good. If Trunda ever gets nerfed, he is currently the second record. I mean, I think she has more than 10 times as much damage as he does. But if Trunda ever does get nerfed in Hydra, and it's like, she's 10 times better than the next best damage dealer. She's almost 20 times better than the one after Taras. But it's like, in any reasonable game, that would be nerfed. But because of the nature of the gacha game and community, it's like, will they? Who knows? Will it just upset people with wallets? That's the nature of the game. But Taras, he's amazing. Extremely good. Buff extension, massive damage, super tanky. He's really OP, to be honest. He's an insane champ. Cardial is very solid. Okay, so Cardial is very good. I'd say Cardial feels to me sort of on Aislinn level, maybe a little bit lower. There's more competition these days with similar ally attack champs and whatnot, but he's very, very good. Cleansing, debuff removal, revive on death, tons of healing, and the full ally attack. It's a lot in a kit. It's very nice. And Turvold is definitely a luxury. Again, Turvold just more. He's massive single target damage. I just feel like, again, as time goes on, there's just more and more competition for that slot. But he is very good. So there you go. That's sort of my thoughts on it. I think that Fyna and Taras are the out-and-out winners. Now, let's jump into the rebalances. First up, we've got Norog. Yes. I think he's arguably the worst legendary in the game. Actually, no. After Chromax is considered the worst. I did a video with YST on this. Bearing in mind that 1 is the absolute minimum you can get. The fact that he's 1.1 almost everywhere is shocking. I think Norog is the second worst, probably, in the game. You can see he's even a good bit higher. So the Doom Tower legendaries receive sort of the most direct hate. But Norog, there's no question. This guy, absolutely trash. Well, he's getting a buff, thank God. It's amazing. So here we go. This is what's changing. Norog, before, on his A1, had a 40% chance of block active skills. This is going up to 80%. That improves with books, I believe, as well. Yes, it does. It gets 20% from books. So this now means Norog before was a 60% chance for block active skills. He will now be a 100% chance block active skills for 1 turn on his A1. He'll also have a 75. That's booking up to, 55, booking to 75% chance to decrease the duration of all buffs on the target as well, which is great. I mean, this is amazing for potentially fighting mythicals in Faction Wars Hard, potentially fighting mythicals if they update more Cursed City stuff in the future, fighting mythicals potentially in the arena. He can guarantee block active skills on them, presuming he has enough accuracy and he doesn't weak hit, of course. It's a nice buff. That's juicy. And then reducing buff duration is just generally useful as well. His A2 used to be an AoE block buffs that book to a 3 turn. It's now going to be block buffs and decreased defense. So that's decent. That puts him, it's like Ugo's A2, basically. AoE decreased defense, block buffs. Actually, it's a very, very solid A2. Again, it is just Ugo's. So it's not like insane. Wow, crazy. It's just good. But yeah, it's sort of what it should have been all along, I'd say. And then for his passive, this used to make him immune to stun, freeze, and sleep. Now it's everything: stun free, sleep free, fear, true fear, provoke, freeze, sheep, and petrification. So all the new hard crowd control. He's immune to all of it, including sheep, which is great. So that's really, really nice. Sorry, we should read the Ascended version. It's still the same thing. And then the damage reduction is still the same, which is a bit of a bummer. That hasn't changed. So, yeah, Norog definitely needed a buff because he was literally worse than Epics. He was a sub-epic champion. Now he's immune to all crowd control. This will actually make him a much bigger threat as well. In any wave-based content where you fight Norog, now you can't control him at all. That's actually quite nasty. He's gonna be very nasty to fight against. And he's okay. I still think he's not great. Honestly, I still think he's not a great legendary. Look, he's immune to crowd control. He's got this damage reduction passive, which is nice. AoE block buffs decrease defense on a 3-turn, and then the block active skills A1. He's still pretty mid. Yeah, but he's just not absolute trash, but he's still not particularly exciting. I don't think you get him early game. He'll definitely makes it into a Hydra team. He's giving you damage reduction, consistent block buffs, decrease defense. He won't be feared at all or provoked at all by the Hydra heads, which is quite nice. And he'll be decent in arena for you early mid game as well. He's still not great, but my goodness, did he need a buff? And at least they've done it. And listen, as you guys know, I'm not one of the people out there that is like, unless they buff a champion and make them disgustingly OP, it's not worth talking about. I don't feel like that. I don't think they need to make every champ OP. He's certainly not OP, but I think it's fair. Then we come to the big one. That's right. If you like big cocks, today is your day. Galleus Bloodcrest has some fairly substantial buffs overall. So, what is happening with Galleus? Form 1, minor changes. There's only one big change. They've upped the damage multiplier for his A2. This is his AoE attack in Form 1. So that's kind of nice. Just because you're going to build him basically as a defense nuker. And this gives him a 3-turn AoE nuke that's a little bit stronger on his base form. So I think that's nice. We'll see what that damage multiplier increase is, but that's cool. His A3, this is the big change for his base form. This now gives him an extra turn. So this fully restores destroyed max HP and puts out Revive on Death and increased defense. Extra turn is now built in. This is actually pretty cool. This does mean that in terms of Hydra, he can now put out a 2-turn provoke, then get an extra turn and come back. So he sort of has a 2-turn provoke on a 2-turn cooldown, because so you can use the extra turn to get back to this quicker. That's actually very strong. For any wave-based content that you're struggling with, again, he's got a 1-turn provoke on a 3-turn, but because he has an extra turn, he can cycle back to this very quickly. That makes him a very good, sorry, wrong one. Makes him a very, very good provoker. So it's actually really nice. It means as well, he is a defense nuker. He can self-buff increase defense and then go straight into an AoE nuke in Form 1. Or he can swap into Form 2 and he'll have 1 turn of increased defense. So he'll self-buff for his first turn in Form 2. Then it will fall off. But that is something you can do, which is cool. So yeah, they've just split up the text, but actually, yeah. So they have actually. Oh, sorry, I missed this. They did change his passive slightly. So basically, they've just made him heal from 50% of damage received in general. So this works now against champions. So it works in arena and for waves. He used to only heal for half of the damage against bosses. Now it heals just in general. That's actually pretty good. Again, for a bit of survivability, it's pretty cool. So he's a lot solid, more solid in Form 1, particularly in arena and faction wars coming up hard. He'd be great there. Cursed City, blah, blah, blah. He's going to be really good in Form 1. So it's a simple change, but some nice changes. And there you go. That's Form 1. Now, Form 2 has received a lot of changes. So let's see his Form 2. I'm very, very happy about this. We'll touch on his passive first. So basically, let's talk about the problem with Galleus before. I've done a showcase of him if you want to see, because I do have Galleus. A big problem before is that he needed to place decreased defense to do good damage. And he needed to place decreased defense to actually reset his skills. But it made him a real big target for polymorph. He was so vulnerable to polymorph. He'd get polymorphed and be totally wrecked. This has massively changed. So now, if we look at his passive, Before, he was immune to all crowd control except polymorph by enemies under decreased defense. Now he is just immune, including sheep from the get-go. So he is totally immune to all crowd control with no conditions. So long as he's in Form 2, he can have his skills increased and he can get block actives and block passives, yes. And block passives would make him now vulnerable to this stuff. But this is big. It means that he can come in and he can place his AoE decreased defense and he can't be sheeped. It's great. And it just makes him way more consistent in general. So that's a huge upgrade. They've also changed this to randomly reset the cooldown of one of his skills whenever he kills an enemy straight up. Before, again, what this did, it would reset his skills if he killed an enemy under decreased defense. Now it just randomly resets either of them. Again, this is pretty cool. Now, one thing you could do before was sort of this infinite A2 spam. Just keep placing decreased defense, stealing turn meter, and so long as you killed one enemy with decreased defense, he could just keep doing it again and again and again. And it could be very strong against something like a Sun Wukong who keeps coming back or whatever. So you won't have that potential infinite A2 spam anymore, which is very good for wave content as well. It's just going to randomly reset a skill, but I think it's good overall. They have buffed his A2 as well. They have made it that the decreased defense cannot be resisted. Now, this is a little bit, it's good. It's not insane, but it's very good. You still need accuracy for his other effects. So for his decreased speed A1 in Form 1, for his provoke in Form 1, you still need accuracy. And you're going to want to have those things because those effects are so useful. For his A3 and for stealing turn meter, even on the A2, the stealing turn meter, you need accuracy. So you're still going to build this champion with accuracy, but it does mean against high resistance enemies. Think about Star Sage Galathir, or Ancora perhaps, or Lady Noelle. High resist enemies can't be resisted. And he's also a 100% decreased defense champion now as well, which is great when you're trying to build speed farm teams. Like, for example, I use Quintus. People like to say Quintus sucks, which is a bit harsh, but I actually use Quintus in Sand Devil. Why? Because he has a 100% decreased defense. It means that the run's never going to fail. I'm never going to go, oh, missed decreased defense this run, 3% chance, even though I've got a million accuracy. Well, we failed the Sand Devil run because he didn't have decreased defense. It can't happen. It's physically impossible. So this is really good. But yeah, I think it's just going to make this consistent in Arena. So decreased defense before attacking can't be resisted. He's, of course, immune to polymorph always. And other than that, it's the same. And the damage multiplier has gone up, which is great. He's really going to kill people. Like, if he lands decreased defense, you're probably just dead, right? But damage multiplier's gone up. His A3 has been reworked as well. So this used to be an AoE attack that did more damage per buff on the target, and it would decrease enemy buffs after the hit. Now, it's an AoE attack. The damage has gone up, which is great. It ignores 20% defense if enemies have no buffs. And now this is the big one for me. It ignores block damage buffs. Ooh. Guess what? Are there any good block damage champions in Arena that this might be useful against? Oh, well, hey, we've got this champion. This champion who's magic affinity, and he's putting up block damage, and in his Form 2, he's reviving people with block damage, and he's really difficult to deal with. Ah, yes. Galleus should be pretty useful against that. I think Alas, he comes in and he's putting block damage on his whole team. Galleus would be pretty useful against that. Hey, how about this Odin fella? He's pumping out block damage with his passive. Oh, yeah, Galleus is going to help. He's just going to ignore it and just kill them. That's great. So, yeah, I think particularly against Odin, seeing as this guy's going to be now immune to stun, just always, Odin can't stun him, and he's just going to hit through his block damage. So I think this is a really juicy upgrade to Galleus. And there we go. We put all that stuff together. I think it's actually a really good buff. I think they've done a great job with Galleus. I actually think I probably couldn't have done better myself. I don't think he's going to be like crazy OP, but I think he's going to be really good now. Yeah, really good now. One thing, before when I showcased him, he was in Form 1 able to solo Iron Twins before. Very easily. It's going to be a little bit more awkward this time because he's giving extra turn. He's going to sort of outrun his own revive on death buffs. Yeah, I kind of feel like the only thing I would have changed was would be, if this gave him these buffs on himself for 3 turns, he'd be so much better. But I guess it'd be a little bit too crazy then and not consistent with other champion. It's more not consistent with other champ designs. But that is one thing. He does outrun his own buffs, or he should outrun his own buffs on his A3 actually quite a bit, which is a bit of a concern. But yeah, his Form 1, just the extra turn makes him way better at buffing. His A3 felt really bad before. It didn't do enough. Now the extra turn, it feels good. So he's great at buffing the team and restoring their destroyed HP, and great at provoking. He's going to be fantastic for Hydra, and just better for all wave content, and better for arena. Just better. It's great. The extra turn as well will help him cycle back towards his metamorph cooldown. It's great. And then his second form is really improved, cementing him as good against crowd control and just an AoE monster. He's going to be a frickin' monster in AoE. And I think giving him this niche of ignoring block damage is incredibly good as well. That is incredibly good. And yeah, just damage increased on his AoEs across the board. It's really fantastic. Like, he's going to be a machine. He is a damage machine now. His A1 can do an AoE as well against enemies under decreased defense. Like, he is going to be an absolute monster. I've got a 5-star Galleus. I actually use him every now and then. I do in arena. I think he's going to become much bigger mainstay right now. I'll do an updated guide on him. You can see, for example, not going to change too much, but it's probably pushing his damage higher and dropping his accuracy. It's like, oh, accuracy not as important anymore. You want enough to be provoking in Form 1, but he does ignore some resist, yeah? So you can drop it. The problem with him before was if you didn't land the decreased defense, he really sucked. Now, because that decreased defense is unresistible, like, yeah, he's really good. And before, he kind of would need a Wand of Submission to reflect Polymorph, because otherwise he'd be in real trouble. If he gets Polymorphed on his decreased defense, he's wrecked. Now he doesn't need a Wand of Submission. I think the way, by the way, Wand works is, even though he's immune to crowd control, I think it would still reflect it back, probably. So maybe you still run a Wand on him. I think Wand's a bit busted, but yeah, anyway, whatever. There we go. That's what's happening, guys. So again, to reiterate, big event for Fyna. Taurus is good as well. Maybe I'm being a bit... Let's highlight that this is the Fyna event. Whee! This is the Fyna event. She's obviously the big draw for the Krakens. Taurus is very good too. And the others are reasonable enough, but nowhere near as crazy. And then we've got our 2 buffs. Galleus, I think, is a brilliant buff. Actually, a really good mythical now. And just an AoE machine in Form 2 with some great utility and great utility Form 1. I think you'd be very happy with him. Norog, great, he got a buff. I think he still kind of sucks, actually. But, well, he's very mid-tier. I think it's pretty unlikely I'll be using Norog myself. Certainly not for, even Faction Wars. I mean, I think Galleus is so disgusting that I don't think I'm going to need Norog. I don't know. That's where my thoughts on it, because I've got Galleus. Maybe you'd use Norog for a little bit. Certainly for Cursed City stages where he shows up, he's significantly better. But I'm still not massively sold on Norog. But he needed a buff, and I think he got one, and it's fine. Would have been nice to see him get an extra skill or something, but it's fine. And there you go. That's it. Let me know what you think. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you next time. Goodbye.